Good morning and welcome to Marketing Moms. I'm Ann Brennan.
And I'm Anastasia Fangreshipy.
We're here to help make marketing easier for you. That's our whole goal. We want to make marketing easier for you. And I think this kind of, honestly, it fills it satisfies an itch that we generally have to tell people what to do. I think a lot. We tell people what to do, and so it satisfies that itch. So
probably
exactly. So I want to remind you that we're doing this live. You can leave comments. You can subscribe on YouTube, but you can leave comments on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook. We'll see those and we can answer them. We may also, if you leave a good question, we may use that. As a matter of fact, we've got an upcoming episode specifically based on a comment we got a couple of weeks ago about keywords, right?
We didn't answer the question because I was like, no, we're going to do a whole podcast on this.
Exactly. But we will answer the question in depth, right? So that is really, I think it's something good. So do ask questions as we go. Leave us those comments and we'll get back to you. And if you want to ask it separately, if you want to send us an email, do that too. We love that. Anastasia, we should get an email that doesn't just come into my inbox. That is something to do with I guess we have one. Podcasts@ASMM.com or something like that. We'll get you we'll get you guys that. ASMMdigital.com. So all right. Today we're going to talk about something that I'm really excited about. But before we do, let me tell you, we're going to talk about user-generated content, and I'm super excited about that. But of course, before we do, we have to give you the Lunar report and catch up a little bit on what's been happening in Anastasia's life and my life. Luna, I said to Anastasia before I started the show, I'm going to try to say something nice about Luna because she has been incredibly bad. She has literally ruined five. I'm not kidding. 5 beds, ruined them, torn them to shreds. So now I can't give her a bed because she just.
I can't believe you're giving her a bed. So I will say Melly did the same thing. She ruined beds, I think, until she was 6.
Yes. Well, the problem is, Anastasia, that when you have great big dogs, it's very bad for them to lay on the ground. If you look at Rocky, he's got calluses on his elbows because for him, I was like, after he tore up 1 or 2, I was like, that's it. I'm not doing it. But it's important. But yesterday I was like, that's it.
You should try a blanket.
Yes, we are trying a blanket. So we'll see. But I will tell you the good thing is that we had the trainer come over, I guess, Saturday. And I said, she's getting really bad she'd never done this, but now she really can do it easily. She's getting really bad about stealing your food while you are eating, not if you turn your back on it, while you are eating. And I'm like, this is not okay. We cannot have this happen. It's just bad. And so he's like, well, what if you make her, because she has a bed, when she only tears up the bed, by the way, if we're not in the room. So we do have a bed.
She's going to get away with it.
Exactly. So we have a bed in the dining room. Exactly.
Like, I didn't write on the wall. What are you talking about?
Exactly. I walked in yesterday. She's like, it exploded. I don't know what happened. It exploded. So anyway, there is a bed, and a really big bed in our dining room. It's the kind of house we have is a big, gigantic bed in our dining room for the dog. And we have trained her now, and it's working really well, that while we are eating, she has to be on this bed. And I am amazed that she sees us walk in the room now, and she goes over and lays on that bed. And it's like magic.
It took a long time to get to that positive.
I know.
You're like, I'm not going to say anything negative about Luna. It's like she did this, and she did this, but now look at this.
Yeah, she did do this one nice thing. So anyway, and yesterday, I can't even go into how bad she was yesterday. It was so bad that I was calling her very bad names. So all right. So Anastasia, how was your week?
Good. We've we went and we're in Maryland, so commissioning week we went and saw the Blue Angels, which was really fun, do their practice. I mean, it wasn't the nice sunny Wednesday that most people got, because the county decided to schedule a field trip for my youngest daughter on the same day as the Blue Angels. It's like that
They
day
know
should be
better. They know
blocked
better.
out, because it's even an excused absence. Like, it's not even like an excused absence. Anyway, regardless. So we did that. It was really fun. We have our boat back, so it's nice to be out on the river and enjoying that.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we're so lucky. It's funny. I grew up in I grew up in a trailer park in the South, and we didn't have the things that we have here. And it's so amazing that our kids get these opportunities. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, we're going
Yeah.
to, hopefully we're going to, if the rain holds out, the Naval Academy graduation. And we're bringing Zane because Biden, the president of the United States, is speaking. How often do you get to
Yeah.
go and see the president of the United States speaking?
We're
Whether
very
you like
fortunate.
him or not, it doesn't matter. I saw Trump a few years ago. Didn't love Trump, but I still saw him. I don't love Biden. Maybe I just don't like presidents.
You know what? I think that, I remember talking to my husband and saying that, now my kids are getting a little bit older. And I think that, regardless of who becomes president, whatever party you believe in, like, we are in the middle of it, like, I mean, we're like
Exactly.
just almost an hour out of DC. You're very close, much closer, but it is an experience that the majority of people in this country and around the world, they don't get to do, right? And I think that
Right.
having the opportunities and having the opportunities that we have to really witness
Oh,
the political
yes.
process is, regardless of how you feel about it, I think it's important for the kids. They are the future. They are the future generations, and to be able to say, I was there. I was able to see. I want to take them to an inauguration. I don't care who will become president, but I would love to take them to an inauguration and just to see and have that experience. And we're fortunate because we can do it. We don't have to plan and book hotels.
You could
And
just decide at the
fly.
last minute. That's what
Last minute drive
even,
down. Yeah.
my transgender son went to see Trump. You can imagine what he thinks of Trump, but he went to see the inauguration because he's like, I should see it. I'd like to be there. And I think it's important to do that. I really do. All right. So let's talk about user generated content, because I think it is something that is, I don't think people think about it very often.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I want to say something before we start this. I would love to hear from everybody who listens to this episode, to everybody who listens to any of our episodes. I'd love to hear how often you think about marketing, because I think it's not very often. I think, and even for myself, how often do I think about my marketing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm thinking about everybody else's marketing, and we do a really good job with ours because we have it set out pretty far in advance. But I think we don't spend enough time thinking about it in general. So I'd love to hear, do you set aside time to do marketing? Do you set aside time to just think about it? It's really important.
I'd
There's
also
so
like to
many
know
things
if
to
you
think
have
about.
a plan. If you've gone and paid somebody for a plan and then it's just sitting either in your email or in some folder on your desk or something, like these are things that you've paid for, or you've actually taken the time. It's like kind of like coming up with that business plan and then just leaving it, like, oh, this is my 5-year plan. What am I going to do with it? And it's the same with marketing, right? Like, you may have a marketing plan and that you're not thinking about, or you might not have a marketing plan at all, but you're not thinking about how you're marketing your business. It's such an important part, because if you're not thinking about it and if you're not marketing your business, how do you expect people to find you? How do you expect people to either help promote you or remember who you are? Because we always say you're forgettable. So these are the things that you need to think about when you're thinking about marketing.
Actually, let me say this, and this is a shameless plug. I'm just going to put it out there because I think it's important. I'm just going to put it out there. A lot of companies do just the strategy, and then they hand it to you in this beautiful document. It's so pretty. And then you put it in your desk or you leave it on your desktop and you never do anything with it. Here's the shameless plug. Call us with that, because we can do the strategy for you, But if you have a strategy already, we are very happy to be the people who implement that strategy.
Yeah.
Because our specialty is the implementation. And if you are not doing it, if you have spent good money on a marketing program, you should be implementing it. And if you don't have the time, if you haven't done it yet, we can help you implement it.
Yeah.
That's what we do, right? We can also help you with the strategy, but this is just for the people who are sitting there with that thing that they've created, that's been created for them, that they have done nothing with. Call us, we'll help you implement it.
Yeah.
And that's me, the end of my sales pitch.
Yep.
All right.
User-generated content, Anne, what is it?
Well, here's the thing. User-generated content is content that you don't have to create because it's created for you. And what we're going to do today is talk about some examples of it to give you some ideas of how you might implement it for your company.
You know what, though? You said it's created for you, but who creates it?
Oh, well, your users, your customers, your people, the people who are following you, your fans, they're creating it. And it's going to be, as we go through it, I think it's going to make sense to you. But the one, Anastasia, I'm going to jump right in because it was so funny. I was, trying to rush around, get myself ready for this morning. I'm like, what are we going to talk about? Like, what is user-generated content? And how long have people been doing it? And then I realized, think about, and I have a picture actually of my dad. This was the first thing that popped into my head. I have a picture of my dad from Carowinds, and he was, it has to have been in the 70s. And he is at Carowinds, and he's in one of those things, I should remember, like the stocks, is that what they call them? Where you put your head through and you put your arms through, and and then people used to throw fruit at you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can picture it, but I can't
I can't think of the name of it. But that, we took pictures and we have those pictures and we still look at them and we know, oh, that was at Carowinds because it says right there on the side, Carowinds, right? But
so
the other examples,
kind of Six Flags, you said?
Exactly. Sort of like Six Flags. Exactly. But then the other things, you've done it with your kids. You've taken them and there's Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and you put your face in Goldilocks and your three children put their faces in the Three Bears, right? And you've taken pictures and you've, maybe in the past you just took a picture. Now you take a picture and you post it.
Yeah.
Right? Now you take a picture and you post it. And you share it. And that
you
tag Carowinds, right? It's user-generated content. So that's like the simplest for me. That's like the simplest explanation of what user-generated content is.
Even like, Disney World or something, you go and you take a picture with Mickey Mouse. What are you going to do with that? You're going to post it, and it's instantly recognizable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, I'm going to tell you a story. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Anastasia, but when, Ethan was going through the worst part of his depression. It was awful. It was so bad. And I felt really guilty. Zane was about 5 years old, and I felt so guilty because our whole lives were revolving around this depression that Ethan had. It was all revolving around Ethan's depression. And I just felt so bad for Zane. And so on Thanksgiving, we were driving back from one of the hospitals. Ethan was hospitalized at Thanksgiving that year, and we're driving back. And I said to Blaze, I want to go to Disney World for my birthday. And he's like, we just left the mental health facility. What are you thinking? And I was like, I want to take Zane to Disney World for my birthday. And I want to take him all by myself. I don't want to bake. I don't want to do anything. I just want to take Zane. Which seems kind of crazy, but I just needed him to have something that was his. It wasn't anything to do with all the crap that was happening in our lives. And because it was his, I treated it exactly that way. And so we went to every single autograph signing that we could in the entire park for the entire 3 days. And I have so many of those pictures, and they're in my house, and I've posted them and I share them every couple of years. But yeah, it's a great example of user-generated content. And sometimes you create it thinking it's great user-generated content, and it actually means something. I'm going to cry. It means something to somebody. Oh, definitely. Shoot.
Yeah. No, it's good. It does. It does mean something. And the thing is too, like when you're looking at Disney or something, like a lot of people, they get one shot at going. They save their whole lives. I mean, the company is really aware of that, and so they make sure that your experience is incredible. But that's a big company, so it's much easier for those big companies to have this to create opportunities to get user-generated content. A great way, we'll look at a small business, right? So anything that's food and drinks. What do people love posting on Instagram? Food
and drinks, right?
Food and drinks, Yeah. And you remember they used to have on the cappuccinos, like they would have like their little hearts. The baristas would make the little hearts at the top of the drinks. People were posting those all over the place. We went in San Diego. There was I think it was Ecamm sponsored remember they sponsored a place outside of they weren't in the conference, but they were outside the conference. And I went to get myself a coffee because they had a barista outside for free coffee. So I'm like, I'm going to go and get me a coffee. And they had a printer that put the Ecamm logo on top of the coffee, like in the phone. So, what are people going to do? They're going to take pictures. If you give people beautiful things and things that they want to share, they will take photos, they'll tag you.
They will tag you. Yes. And sometimes they won't, but if you're smart about it, you're doing something beautiful, right? You're creating whatever it is. I mean, Debbie was just here visiting, and when she was here, she showed me a picture of her friend's margarita, and it was ridiculously huge. It was ridiculously huge. Guess what? That is worthy of a photo. You're going to take a picture of it and you're going to post it. And if you also put on the table something that says, by the way, here's how you tag us. Here's our tag. Then it reminds them, oh yeah, let me take that picture and let me tag them.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can use the pictures too, like
exactly.
And they create things with them. I mean, people would get a real kick out of seeing something that they've taken out there. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So so
that's an easy one.
Exactly. And just it doesn't have to be over the top. It can just be something unusual. It can be the way you plate something. It can be the type of glass you use. It could be anything, honestly. It could be the type of table you choose for your where did we go? I think it was you and I that we went, and all the tables were bottle caps. Under very cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, people get a kick out of those things, right? So
they do. But something you need to remember though is customer service, right? Because it's also going to be about the entire experience. So they might be taking a picture of something that you have that's really cool, but if the entire experience isn't positive and worthwhile, then they might not post it. If their entire experience is unbelievable and the margarita was to die for and the guacamole was fresh and the server was incredibly helpful, then they're going to evangelize you. They're going to talk about how great the experience was, and here are the pictures that I took. So these are things you do need to think about. Like, it's not just you can provide something cool for people to take pictures of, but you've got to do the whole package.
You've got to have the whole package. Exactly. So, all right. Clever wall art is another one that is super easy. It doesn't have to be a big company to do this.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we see it most often. I see it in small companies, right? I just gave you the example of the dentist that we work with, Elegant City Smiles. They just redid their whole office, and on one wall it says, "A smile is the prettiest thing you can wear." And it's just adorable. I can show it to you, but I don't know if you can see it. But we can post that picture. But it makes you want to stand there and take a picture with it, right? Or it makes you want to take a picture and say, "This is from my dentist office." But it's such an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you have or wings. I mean, wings are all over the place. We have some for burgers and bands that the middle school made for us 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
4 years ago. And we put them up, and people take pictures with them all the time. I mean,
as a matter of fact, yeah. Anastasia, I don't know if you've gone to look yet, because I did it over the weekend. But I changed our banner on Facebook. So if you go to Facebook, go to our banner on Burgers and Bands, and there is a great picture that somebody took. It was one of our volunteers. Also, it's actually even better because she's got on the voluntold shirt. We gave a voluntold shirt. Another example of great user-generated content, because people take pictures with the shirt and then they, it's out there. So yeah, clever wall art is just a really great way to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. We have some other examples here.
Well,
cool. Yeah, your eyewear,
cool
right?
products. So yeah,
cool
products.
Like
cool products, right? I just switched my eyeglasses in half a second. That's a great thing to share. And I will tell you, I have been on, by the way, their website or their social media twice lately, because I created content that they liked and they are sharing it. Right? Yeah. User-generated content. It's such a great example. Yeah. And actually,
isn't all of their content user-generated content?
All of their content is user-generated content. If you go there and look at it, you're going to see it's all user-generated content.
I believe Yeti is very similar. They have a lot of user-generated content, and there are companies that can get away with. I mean, their products are just so loved, and people want to I don't know. Yeti, I feel like that's almost a status symbol within their price point, so it's like, oh, look what I have. So people wanting to share that. But,
right.
Another one of ours, a small business, a jeweler,
Oh, yeah.
We get pictures all the time of engagements and weddings and things that we can put out there. So and people of course, they love to see it. Your son got his engagement ring
exactly. And it's so yeah, there's some that is just naturally occurring content, right? It is because they're going to post about you. You just need to figure out how to get them to tag you. So if you're a jewelry store, chances are somebody's going to post a picture of their, how many times did I post a picture of my beautiful new engagement ring or wedding ring, right? I went in and had it redone and I posted about it because I loved it so much. People are going to post certain things. So how do you get them to remember to tag you in it? Yeah. Right. And we talked about that. There's a lot of ways you can do that. You can send them a thank you email afterwards and say, by the way, if you post pictures, please don't forget to tag us. You can do Sunday PC when their product goes out for the first time. We're launching in June. When their product goes out for the first time, there will be cards in there that say, hey, please share on social media, and it will tell them exactly what our tags are, how you find us there. So it's those naturally occurring things. You need to take advantage of making sure that they don't just post them, but they're tagging you as well, right? So the outside the box one, the only one I could think of outside the box, and I am 100% sure there are more, but Chris Case from Case Home Service, Home Inspections, he does what is it called? He does a monster inspection.
Monster-free guarantee.
Yes, he gives a monster-free guarantee. When he does the inspection of the house, if they have kids, he gives a certificate. It is so cute, and it says, there are no monsters in this house, I guarantee it. And it's adorable. It gets reposted. It gets shared. People love it. So those kind of things are things you can do. The dentist office, you can do something clever where you give the kids something when they leave, or you take their picture in a certain way. There's a number of things you can do to think outside the box, right? So if you need help with that, those are things that we can help you come up with. We love, again, like I said at the beginning of the show, Anastasia and I love telling you what to do. It's part of the fun. So do that. It makes a big difference it makes a big difference.
It definitely does. It shows the people that are following you that you are trustworthy. And it establishes brand loyalty, and it grows your community, and it influences people's purchasing. So because they if you share something, and I know you, I'm more likely to trust in that product, right? And trust more in that service. So I think that's what user-generated content is doing.
Well, I'll tell you, by the way, I went to Pair Eyewear. If you guys are listening to this, I went to see if you have an affiliate program, because I know 4 people who have now bought these glasses because I talk about them all the time, right? I talk about them all the time, and people trust me just because they're friends with me. And I'm not talking about, you're going to have to talk, Anastasia, because Rocky's about to start barking. But it does make sense that it really does influence people.
It's almost like influencer marketing for free.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Micro influences. It's people that have their small sphere, unless you're some big company. It's some big personality, that happens to love, because there are people out there that they're like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. I'm not getting paid. I'm still going to brag about it.
Yes.
So there is that. But yeah, it's influencer marketing at its best, really, because what do we say? People trust people's opinions more than they trust marketing. If they feel like they're being sold to, then they're not necessarily going to trust it. If they feel like they're being educated, or they know somebody who is recommending them, then that is going to help. It's going to help build the trust that you need.
By the way, you just gave me a great idea for our next podcast. We should talk about reviews and some of the ways you can use your reviews to be very, very helpful. Because I have an idea. Something happened yesterday that Zane, my son, I love when my kids get into this. My son sent me something. I said, look at this. This is something you should talk about.
Oh, it's funny that you say that, because Ariadne this morning, you said that I needed to create some posts, and I went back to see what you had posted, and she came up with an idea. I can't remember what it was at the time. I was like, oh, that's not actually half bad. You're 9 years old.
Yeah. Well, they listen to us a lot, right?
Yes.
And my kids, Zane and Ethan are both all about the experience. They talk about the experience all the time. Well, no matter where we are. Well, what kind of user experience is this? I think that's great. All right. So user-generated content, it doesn't have to be hard. I challenge you to think outside the box today. What are some things that you do? I'm going to give you a good example. Jennifer Galarson, who, by the way, is our loyal listener. I don't know how many other loyal listeners we have, but Jennifer Galarson listens to this a lot. And I've seen her with some user-generated content where she has people who have just done Botox, or they've just had I forget the other thing that she does that she's done this with, but there's several treatments she's done that people have posted about. Right. As a matter of fact, I need to create something for her, because you guys, if you were watching this a month ago, you would see me turn bright red throughout the entire thing. I went to Jennifer, and she has been helping me with my hot flashes. And I am so much better. So I'll do something specifically for her that she can use for her content. Anyway, it doesn't have to be hard. Think outside the box. Think, what kind of things do you do on a daily basis that people might want to take pictures of, that people might want to share about, that you can get something from. And if you really don't know what that is, message me. I actually did a whole show. Maybe we'll even do this at some point if we get enough of these responses. I did a whole show a while back or a whole seminar where all I did was give them ideas. They'd say, this is what my business does. And I said, we'll try this. And they were all so surprised by it, because I'm like, it's just what we do all day long. So we come up with the ideas pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think when we have such a diversity in our clientele, it's funny because at Social Media Marketing World, we went to a talk, and the guy was like, oh, you need to really pick your niche and kind of go down in your niche. And there are things that I'm like, okay, like I can get that. I can get behind that. But then I'm like, but one of the things that I love is how diverse our clientele is. Like, we have plumbers, and we have an app, we have security, we have jewelers,
IT companies, and
home services. Like, we have, I feel like we cover the gamut. Now we have a theater, we have a comedy club, comedy troupe. Like, there's so many things. So I love the diversity of it, and I think it keeps us thinking, in different ways. But when it comes to things like that, then we can brainstorm and come up with things quickly. Whereas if we were like home services, all we do is home services, it would be very difficult for us to come up with ideas for non-home services business. It would happen, but it just wouldn't be as quick, I think.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. I do want to remind you that we have the blog. It's at ASMMdigital.com/blog. Today, we're talking about NFTs on there. So, That's an interesting one. It's one that we learned a lot about out in California. So if you're interested in finding out how you can use NFTs in marketing, it's a great place to go and see. We still are learning. It is very, very, very new. This is a very new concept, and it's interesting to see where it's going. So have a look at that, see what you think. I do want to remind you, you can still make donations to burgersandbands.org, and tune in next week because we're going to be talking about reviews. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.